6 a.m. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. This is the big question on Women Radio 91.7 FM. Big question, we're always talking about, social justices, everything that affects, the vulnerable women, children, less privileged, disabled, name it. And today we're going to be having a conversation with our people from Hearts and Hands Humanitarian Foundation. Today we're talking about protecting child domestic workers, community awareness, support systems, and hope for every child. But before I get ahead of myself, my name is Fumi Bangala, and you're welcome to Women Radio 91.7 FM, the voice of women, Nigeria's first and only radio station for women and their families. We are live on YouTube at WFM917.com. At WFM917, and you can listen to us on our website while you're on the go, www.wfm917.com. The phone lines will be open shortly, but in the meantime, you can send your text messages and your voice notes to 0703-1756-537 or 08155-917-917. Okay, let us get into it. Good morning. I have quite a few guests here. There's Favor Uday, who's the Communications and Advocacy Officer at 3HF, Hearts and Hands Humanitarian Foundation. We have Cordelia Otutu Oguji, case officer also. We have Olorunfemi Precious, who's a psychologist. Lastly, we have the program advisor group member for Freedom Fund, Bashira Idris. Hello, good afternoon, ladies, and I think gentlemen. You can turn on your videos and unmute yourselves. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, Favor. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Oh, they're all ladies. Oh, it's the women affair.
Good afternoon.
I love it for us. I love it, love it, love it. How are you guys? It's a wet day today. How's the day going? Is it a lazy morning? I'm seeing Cordelia nod her head. Yeah. Are we working or are we is it a lazy day for us?
We're actually working.
Same. Women, we have to work now. We have to make ends meet. Yeah. Anybody that says that women are lazy, 5 ladies here been working since morning. Please put some respect on our name.
Our name, exactly.
Okay, it's really, really wonderful to have you ladies on here. Again, good afternoon. But Favor, I'll start with you. Can you introduce the Hearts and Hands Humanitarian Foundation and explain the key areas of work that you focus on to protect vulnerable children in communities?
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Favor Uday, and I'm the Communications and Advocacy Officer for Hearts and Hands Humanitarian Foundation. So at Hearts and Hands is a non-profit, child-focused and community-based organization which is dedicated to promoting protection, dignity, and the right of every individual, especially children in communities. So basically, we work to prevent abuse, exploitation, strengthen community awareness, and ensure that vulnerable individuals, especially children, are not left out and are protected in homes, workplaces, informal domestic settings. And we also engage broader. We also have broader humanitarian support where we empower young people and the elderly, promoting skill development and helping individuals and communities reach their full potential. We have our headquarters in Abuja, and we have our satellite offices in Cross River and Lagos, or maybe Ikeja here, which everybody knows. So we deliver our work through awareness programs, capacity building, case responses, and referral services for victims or those at risk of neglect, abuse, and exploitation. So our goal is just simple: to ensure that every child, every vulnerable person grows in a safe environment, and also to respect their rights and get themselves protected and have their rights upheld.
I actually love what you guys do. Just from the topic, I was like, yes, because this Nigeria that we're in, personally, when I see, people that have domestic health workers that are children, I'm close to going to fight. I pride myself on being a fighter. I pride myself on being a fighter. So especially when it comes to women issues and children matters. So I'm almost it's just like, I don't know if they will beat me, so let me just leave it. So I really, really love the work that you do. But why is it important for organizations like 3HF? And I think not just organizations, even human, like individuals, to continuously create awareness across child domestic work, abuse, child protection, and assistance. I really like how you kept on saying, especially children. Like, maybe you can give us, what ages are we looking at? Like, why do you have maybe an 8-year-old being a domestic worker? Maybe you can give us like fine details like that.
Okay, so firstly, for the ages from age 17 downward.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, this awareness is very important because many cases of child abuse and exploitation happen silently within communities, and often behind closed doors that we do not even know, like where people may not recognize it or may not like even know how to respond to it. So we feel like we know that when people are informed, they are better able to identify warning signs. They get to like speak up and also like know when and how to take actions before situations escalate. And also in many communities currently, there are some practices that are normalized. Like now you go to a few homes and then you see a 10-year-old child taking care of a 2-year-old child. How does that even make sense that a child is taking care of a child? So like when we continually like do this awareness, it helps to shift mindset and encourage reporting and also promote collective responsibility for child protection. So we believe that awareness is the first step to prevention, because when people get to know better, they get to do better, basically.
I love that. When people know better, they get to do better. I absolutely agree with that. Okay, I'm going to move over to Cordelia. What are some of the warning signs or indicators that a child domestic worker may be experiencing abuse or exploitation? I think that this question, concept, is that you are even talking about a child. Like, it's a case of what, like Favor said, once you've seen the age, that person is already experiencing it. But for the sake of let's be formal, what are the signs that we have to look out for to know that this person is experiencing abuse or experiencing exploitation? There's also the angle of people who claim that they are adopting people, but you not adopt the person. That person has turned into a. The other day on, I read. No, 2 cases, one in Lagos and I think one in Delta. A 10-year-old was killed somewhere in Festac, Mile 2, by her adopted parents. Somewhere in Delta as well, that one was, they found out the child too was being abused by the people that called themselves adopted parents. But yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Olufemi. Olufemi. Okay, like I said, Cordelia, case officer to 3HF. Okay, let me go straight to the point. Some of the warning signs that we'll see, and then we target and said, oh, this child is undergoing abuse. We have the physical signs. And what are these physical signs? Unusual burns, unexplained injuries, yes, bruises. Now, when you say bruises, did you just occur? Just no. You see the first day, you close your mouth. See the second day. Trust me, the perpetrator there are just watching. If they do one, nobody confronts them, they go as far as do the second. And then they keep going and going. So when you see those bruises, unexplained injuries, cuts, please raise alarm. We will always say something in our organization that if you see something, you say something. Don't wait till it gets to a point where it's choky and killing, and then that's where you want to voice out. So we have the emotional and psychological indicators. You see a child be scared of a particular person, is a warning sign. You see a child being quiet in a place when other children are playing. Mind you, children don't keep quiet where they see their peer group. They are always together. Once they see that play, they want to join it. And if you see children gathering, and at the end of the day, you see a particular child not joining that group, not being creative like others, it's a warning sign. Report it. We have this low self-esteem among children. Yeah, these are children that have been traumatized, that have been suppressed. You see them doubting their own personal self. Please raise alarm. We have behavioral changes like becoming aggressive. You see a child, every little thing, somebody, you see the child. No, the child is not doing that because it's a pattern. The child is not doing that because this was how he or she was born. No, it was the way they have maltreated this child. So everything that comes to the child comes with aggressive. So the child tends to inherit it. I don't know if you understand. So we see avoiding eye contact. You see a particular adult walking to a particular place, and you see a child. Once he sights that adult, the child is trying to run away. It's a warning sign. No, there is something that adult is doing to that child, and when the presence of the adult is infused, you see the child trying to run away. So we have this excessive workload. Children doing age inappropriate jobs. Oh, you see a child. During our period of handling cases, we've seen a child that sleeps. When I asked the child, said she sleeps around 12 when the woman's children had slept. She'll have to wash, she'll have to cook for the next day in preparation of the children to school. A child preparing another children to school. You see them in factories working. I think there was a time we discussed this about different states here in Nigeria where factory-based cocoa farming, you see children being sent there to go and work, excessive workload. You see children growing above their age. Have you seen a child talking so maturely? No, that growth is a forced growth. We call it a forced growth. You force a child to grow beyond his or her age. You're trying to see a child restricted freedom, a particular onset. You see a guardian telling a child, I don't want to see in the sitting room there. I don't want to see you close to my sitting room. You're not supposed to use this particular kitchen. Do you get it? So, and many more, these are just the warning sign. And what we always say is, immediately you see these indicators, please report it. Don't wait it escalate. Don't wait until it gets to a point where it's getting choked and the child is beyond no child is beyond repair. When you get to a point where the child's voice is ceased, that is where you want to speak out. So just few thank you.
Right. I like how you say report. When you identify it, then you report. So what steps or what interventions does 3HF take to support and protect the child? Do you take the child? So if, for instance, I saw something like that and I call in or I report the matter, what steps do you take as an organization? You're muted.
Okay, this is 3HF as an organization.
Yes.
What we do, right? We have different steps which we take. And first of all, we have what we call immediate safety and risk assessment. When a case is being reported, what we do first is to first assess the case. We go to the address that was reported. We want to see the child. We want to engage the child. We want to identify if the case is at high risk, low risk, or medium. With this first intervention measures and access, it helps us to classify where this particular case is supposed to be. We have the child safety and best interest remain our primary concern in every intervention. As organization that handle cases, we put the child best interest first. Everything we are doing that intervention and steps, the child must be aware of it. The child must have must give his or her consent. So we collaborate with government too, other child protection agencies. We collaborate. Where do we do this? We collaborate with government agencies to strengthen the protection process and ensure that cases handled within established child protection framework and legal procedure. Like presently, we are handling a particular case with the Ministry of Youth and Social Development presently. We do this because everything 3HF as an organization wants to do, it wants to be government-based, right? Lagos State has its law governing children. We want to work in accordance in Lagos State's rules. That is why, as a body and as an organization, we have to collaborate with government agencies. And again, we have what we call a first aid. I call it a PFA. We call it a psychological first aid. Yeah. So when we go to assess these cases, right, you might see children that need immediate counseling. We do it. In as much as we have our psychologists, but when we go into cases, we see that, oh, this child needs to be spoken to, this child needs to be counseled. What we do as 2HF body is PFA, psychological first aid, where instantly we counsel the child, we talk to the child. This help the child to calm. This help the child to open up. We create this bond between we and the children, so they can be able to speak up. Trust me, like I said initially, that most of these children, their voice has been seized. So for you to get them to speak, we have to create that bond. So we have reporting and referral to appropriate authorities, like I've said before, reporting to, once we identify cases like this, we intervene, we assess the case. If it's of high risk, we take it up to the Ministry of Youth and Social Development, where we work in hand to hand with the social worker there. We are not just leaving it to them, we are working side by side with them to do this in a legal way. And also as 3HF, okay, we empower children. We see vulnerable families, right, that can not able to sustain their home. We see, you know, one thing that causes parents to drop their children in house is what we call poverty. We empower households to help them navigate out of poverty, so their children will not be sent away to go and learn, go and be doing house girl, resulting to abuse. Now, we as 3HF, we empower children that show interest to go back to school, right? We process and collaborate with our partners to enroll the children to school. We do it as a body. As and 3HF again, we empower children to learn skill of their choice, not being forced on their own. They had interest and said, this is what I want to learn.
All right.
We empower them, register them to learn a skill, so that tomorrow they'll be employer of labor and come out to be a voice to others.
All right. Thank you so much, Cordelia. You're still tuned to Women Radio 91.7 FM. This is the big question, and we're speaking with our good friends from Hearts and Hands Humanitarian Foundation on the topic protecting child domestic workers, community awareness, support systems, and hope for every child. If you've always noticed that maybe you get upset when you see people with children who are maltreating them, you can tell that this one is not this person's child and they're being maltreated. Maybe they're using them as house girl, house boy, whatever it is, domestic workers, and you have that righteous indignation. You are well in the right place. And I want you to call us 0800 123 5917 to give your contribution to this. We have Favor, Cordelia, Precious, and Bashira here. We've been speaking on this particular topic, how to identify it, what to do when you identify the children in these kinds of situation as well. Now I'm going to move over to Bashira. As a program advisory group, right, and as someone who has lived experience, why is survivor participation important in addressing issues affecting child domestic workers? Because you know that this society that we live in is one that shames people and stigmatizes people. So why is it important for people who have gone through this experience, who have this lived experience, why is it important for them to speak up about these things and address these issues affecting child domestic workers?
Hello, thank you for having me. I hope you can hear me clearly. Okay, so survivor participation is important because people who have lived through it know the depths of it. They know how best to address it as well. So their involvement in this program is very, very important. You cannot help a certain group of people without their involvement. It is through the survivor, through my position, that we also helped, influence programs and activities that can help address survivors particularly. So it's not just, this program is now not just a programmatic, it's not just the program, it deals with survivors and prevention as well. So it goes a long way addressing things like this, addressing the needs of the survivors, how they can be integrated back into society with dignity, how they can get support, how they can be removed from instances, and how they can also help others, because people talk, and when a group of people are together, they tend to help themselves, form communities. So that is why it is very important. You're muted.
Yes, I can see that I'm muted. Okay, thank you so much for that, Bashira. So how has support from partners like Freedom Fund, how has it contributed to strengthening community responses and protecting vulnerable children?
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, Freedom Fund is the first. This program is the first of its kind in Nigeria,
Okay.
and this is the first time that this has been addressed, brought to the government and in policymakers, lawmakers, and all that. Now, it is very important because, like Favor said earlier, this is a grassroots problem. So we are Africans, we believe in servitude. We believe that, our younger ones are meant to serve us. Oh, help. These people are going to, my brother that is living in this city, let him take my son and help him for a few. So we believe in things like this. And because we believe in things like this, it is hard to conceptualize the idea that this is wrong. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
So Freedom Fund bringing this program to life, bringing stakeholders, especially government parastatals and organizations and non-governmental organizations like the 3HF, is amazing, because through this now we have been able to reach a lot of people. We have been able to change narratives that the government has, that the society itself has. So this is also very, this is the kind of work they have done, and it's amazing what they have done so far.
Amazing. I mean, for me personally, because I like these sort of conversations, and it's something that I talk about as well. I think about 2 weeks ago, I still talked about it on the on one of our programs on here. I think that it's important that everybody, not just people who have lived experiences, you would like to contribute to these, sort of conversations. And kudos to, Freedom Fund as well with the work that you're doing. Okay, I'm going back to Precious. Have I been? No, I haven't been to Precious at all. From a psychological perspective, because you're a psychologist, how does abuse or exploitation, how does it affect the emotional and mental well-being of children?
All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon to the ladies. Good afternoon to everyone listening. Okay, so when we talk about the psychological effects of abuse or exploitation on children, now I believe everybody knows already that abuse goes further than just the physical appearance of the child. Just as Ms. Cordelia mentioned the other time, some of the physical warnings that we see when you see the child is bruised, burns, and all of that. But beyond that, there is also the psychological effect of abuse or exploitation on children. And one of the key effects is it takes away the child's identity. Now, we all understand that children at their younger age, they are their formative years. These are the period of their life when they develop their identity. So it matters their experiences at that stage of their life. So children who are constantly exposed to abuse, emotional and verbal abuse, physical abuse from their guardian and from the environment in general, those children sometimes, or in most cases, develop a sense of identity that they are not good enough, nobody loves them, they are not worth living, life is not fair to them. Negative, irrational thoughts keeps on forming their identity, their self-concept. And so these children, when they grow up into adults, into adolescents, the experiences that they had while growing up, it moves with them, it grows with them. So it develops their identity. And that is how we end up having children who have faulted childhood identity. So aside from that, also, it affects their trust issue. Take, for instance, a child who has been moved from one home to another in a bid to remove the child from one abusive family, taking the child into another home with the mind that, okay, here you are going to be safer, and then the abuse continues to repeat itself again. Such child will develop trust issues so much that whenever help is on the way for the child will not see the hope. The child will not see a sense of, oh, I think it's going to get better now. So it can also affect the trust level of the child. That's for children that are emotionally abused. Also, when abuse is left unattended to, when it's left unaddressed for a very long time, it can degenerate into critical personality issues. We see so many adults now walking on the streets. A little thing just triggers them. They become hypervigilant because they've been constantly exposed to trauma. They've been constantly exposed to abuse right from their childhood days. So they already developed that tough skin. We call it tough skin, but it goes beyond that in psychology. It goes beyond, oh, this is a tough individual. They've learned to develop that survival mode so much that their brains are at alert. Once they trigger anything that seems like there's an attack coming, they become defensive. And so we start to see many adults moving on the streets with, aggressive mentality. They say, oh, violence is the way we have to deal. When a little situation comes, they become extremely defensive. Now, if we take time to study these individuals, in most cases, we would see that these individuals in their childhood years has at one point or the other encountered repeated cases of abuse, which has now developed a mentality, which has now developed a sense of their own identity, thinking that they are all by themselves. They are all, it is how do they use this word? Survival of the fittest. So they have to be very tough. They have to put on this fierce look, this fierce personality, exactly, in addressing situations. So all of these things still boils down to emotional trauma from their childhood days. So these things can degenerate into a lot of, these are just like a very few effects that we see on the surface. It even goes beyond this.
Right. So what practical advice could you give parents, anyone listening right now, community members, on creating safer environments for children?
All right. So, I know that this case is still very much prevalent in our society, and this is why 3HF is taking this hands-on. This is why we are having this conversation. So this means that we still have children who are vulnerable, who are still in this, who are still experiencing this issue. So we will always keep talking about it. But then our voices alone is not enough to address this issue. We need the community. We need awesome minds to come together to, create awareness on this, talk about this, trash out these issues. And one of the ways parents, community members can help in, lending a voice and helping out in this is to create a safe environment for children. There's this common saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Yes, so if it takes a village to raise a child, that village must also protect the child. I know we already have this mentality of, oh, it's my neighbor, it doesn't really concern me, as long as it doesn't affect my children, as long as my children has nothing to do with this thing, then I think I'm fine. I'm okay. I will just focus on my children, forgetting that these same children you live in these vulnerable states, they will at one point or the other in their life grow up to become a menace to the society. So it is important that we start to lend our voice together. We start to work together, put all hands on deck to see that every child, regardless if the child is your biological child, a foster child, a relative, they are all protected. They are all safe. Also, the silence culture we have in this part of the world, where children are not meant to talk, children are not meant to lend their voice. We constantly shout children down when they warm up to us and want to tell us something. We are quick to shunning them. We need to address that culture. Every child has a voice. Every child has the right to speak. They have the right to lend their voice. They have the right to give their opinion. And also, we need to draw a line between discipline and violence, discipline and abuse. Absolutely. There is a difference. There's a huge difference between disciplining a child and abusing that child. Because most of the times when we see children who speak up to adults who are not well informed, they tend to just excuse it and say, oh, she's training you. I also had it tough growing up. So you just have to toughen up and, accept it as it comes. That is their own way of training you. But we need to understand that it is not a fine line. There's a huge difference when you are constantly talking to a child, talking down on a child, making the child feel less of themselves. You are removing the situation. You are correcting the child away from their personality, away from their identity. Then you are abusing that child already. It is no longer discipline. Right. When you correct a child for something and the child feels worse for their own existence beyond the offense they have committed, then it means that you are abusing that child. So we need to make it more, we need to make this voice louder. We need to ensure that everybody understands this, so that it doesn't even have to be you. It could just be any neighbor around you. But when you have a better understanding of this, you can educate the neighbor properly and, also help the child too.
Yeah, thank you so much. One more question before we go, because we have run out of time. Favor, this question is to you. If someone wants to reach out to your organization or report a case of child abuse or exploitation, how can they contact you?
Okay, thank you very much. So anyone who wants to reach out to us can reach us on our official line, which is 081 2742. I'll call it again, 081 2742. And if you also want to report cases, we have our partners toll-free line. It is free, 0800 800 801 by Chichera. I'll call it again, 0800 800 801. And also we have another of our partners, the Talkam app by Devatop. It's an app where you can report abuse of all kinds. Talkam app, you can download from your App Store or Google. So yes, you can reach out to us through Talkam app, Chechera toll-free line, and our official line. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Today was very, very insightful. Many thanks to you, Cordelia, Favor, Precious, and Bashira for coming on the program today. I'm sure that somebody listened. Please, 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 I'm adding my voice to their voices. If you see any case of abuse, or domestic worker, whoever, please speak up. 0800 800 801. That's the number to call.
Yeah.
I don't remember the first one. Then there's the Talkam app as well. Or you can send us a message and then we can send you to them directly. Once again, thank you so much, ladies, for coming on the program this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. This is still Women Radio 91.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. We have great, great, great music to keep you company. Yeah, this is me signing out for today. Enjoy your weekend. Bye for now.